If you've ever worked with Kubernetes, you know the feeling. You deploy your app, everything looks good, and then poof, it's just gone. No logs, no errors, just a ghost in the machine. Well, today, we're putting on our detective hats because we are going to solve this incredibly common Kubernetes mystery once and for all.
It's the question that drives developers crazy, right? Your pod is running fine 1 minute, and the next, it's just restarting, leaving you with absolutely nothing to go on. It feels random, it's frustrating, and it seems totally impossible to debug. But here's the thing, there are clues. You just have to know where to look.
And your first major clue? It's often hiding in plain sight. You run a quick kubectl get pods, and you might just spot this status, OM killed. Now, this isn't some random error message. It's a specific verdict. OM stands for out of memory, and this, my friends, is where our investigation begins.
Okay, so we've got our cause of death, out of memory. Now it's time to put on the forensics gear and dig a little deeper into the crime scene, because the system always leaves behind one critical piece of evidence that tells us exactly what went down.
And that single piece of evidence is this number, 137. When you run a kubectl describe pod on your failed pod, you will almost always find this exit code. And trust me, that's not a random number. It's a very, very specific signal from the underlying Linux system.
So what's so special about 137? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. This exit code tells us that your application didn't crash on its own. It wasn't a bug inside your code that made it fall over. No, this means it was forcibly taken out by an outside force. Something else decided its time was up.
The code itself is actually just some simple math. See, in the Linux world, when a process is killed by a signal, its exit code is calculated as 128 plus whatever the signal number was. So, for exit code 137, the math is simple. It's 128 plus 9. And that number, that 9, that's the key to this whole mystery.
So what is signal 9? It's known as sigkill. And let me tell you, sigkill does not mess around. It's the ultimate non-negotiable game over signal. An application can't catch it, it can't ignore it, and it doesn't get a chance to do any cleanup. It's just told to stop instantly. That's why you don't get any last words. There was no time to write a final log message.
All right, so we know the weapon was sigkill, but who or what pulled the trigger? Let's meet our culprit. It's a core feature of the Linux kernel that Kubernetes relies on, and it has a pretty intimidating name. The out-of-memory killer, or OOM killer for short.
Now, to really get why the OM killer is so harsh, you have to understand that Kubernetes treats CPU and memory limits completely differently. If your app goes over its CPU limit, Kubernetes is pretty chill about it. It just throttles it, slows it down a bit. But memory is a finite resource. If one process takes more than its share, it puts the whole node at risk. So, you don't get a warning shot. You cross that memory line, and the OM killer steps in to eliminate the threat immediately.
Let's look at the evidence right in the code. This right here is a classic setup for an OM kill event, the smoking gun. In this pod definition, we've set a hard memory limit of 250 megabytes, but look at the application's arguments. We're telling it to allocate 275 megabytes. That's a built-in conflict. The app is basically guaranteed to ask for more memory than it's allowed to have.
So let's walk through the timeline. How does this crime unfold at runtime? Well, first, the pod gets scheduled just fine, because the scheduler only cares about the memory request, not the limit. Then, the container starts up and begins allocating memory, just like it was told. But the very instant it tries to allocate more than its 250 megabyte limit, bam, the OM killer is triggered. The process is killed, and the pod status immediately flips to OM killed.
Okay, so the theory makes sense, but you're sitting there thinking, I'm pretty sure this is happening in my cluster right now. How do you prove it? Well, it's time to open up the detective's toolkit. These are the commands you absolutely need to know. It's a really simple 3-step investigation. Think of it as your go-to playbook. First, kubectl get pods to spot that OM killed status. If you see it, you move to step 2, kubectl describe pod. This is where you'll find the explicit reason OM killed and that telltale exit code 137. And finally, just to be thorough, you can try kubectl logs-previous, but like we talked about, don't be surprised if you find it empty.
So we've identified the culprit, we've confirmed the cause of death, the mystery is solved, now it's time to close the case, and that means talking about how to fix the immediate problem and, maybe more importantly, how to prevent this from ever happening again.
You've basically got 2 main paths to a solution here.
Option 1 is the most direct. Just increase the memory limit in your pod's YAML file, if your application genuinely needs more memory to do its job. The other path takes a bit more work. You need to profile your application, figure out why it's using so much memory, and then optimize your code to reduce its footprint.
Look, fixing it is one thing, but preventing it is where the real pros play. So to really master this, you need to focus on prevention. First, always set both memory requests and limits for your containers. It is so crucial for a stable cluster. Next, monitor what they're actually using with tools like Prometheus, so your numbers are based on reality, not just a guess. And definitely test your limits under load to see how your app behaves under pressure.
So what are the magic numbers? How do you pick the right values? Well, there's no single magic number, but there is a fantastic rule of thumb. Watch your application under a typical workload to find its average and its peak memory usage. You're going to set your requests value close to that average usage. Then you'll set your limits to its peak usage, plus maybe a 20% buffer, just for safety. That's the sweet spot between efficiency and stability. And that brings us to our final and most important thought. It is so easy to see killed as just a nuisance, an annoying problem you fix by bumping up a number in a YAML file. But what if you're looking at it all wrong? What if that memory limit isn't just getting in your way? What if it's a safety net, protecting your entire node from a memory leak in your own app? Thinking about it that way changes everything. And kill isn't just a crash, it's a diagnostic signal, and it's pointing you toward a stronger, more resilient application.